right, everybody, welcome back to the Just Make It Pretty podcast. Today we are diving into marketing analytics, and I have my data queen here, Shari Morton, to share some thoughts with us. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Just Make It Pretty podcast, the slightly unhinged marketing podcast for home builders and beyond. I'm your host, Sarah Haynes, also known as the Pixel Wizard, and my goal is to tackle the tough stuff that goes in behind the scenes in marketing and offer actionable tips, creative insights, and a little bit of humor to spark some creativity. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get started. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about some data analytics and some reporting that we do here in marketing. And I brought my friend Shari back to talk about this a little bit. She handles all of the data and she actually finds this stuff super fascinating. So for those of us who maybe don't, she has a really interesting input, and we've talked about this a lot, Shari. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you and talk about some struggles and things that we could do in marketing to make our data a little bit more interesting and a little bit more, it would make more sense to the rest of our team. So welcome back.
I'm happy to be back.
So we do our random rapid fire questions to warm us up. So I have some very random questions that I'm going to ask you, and I actually don't know any of the answers to these ones this time. So that's going to be fun. So my first one, if you could have dinner with any fictional or real life person, who would it be? And
Albert
why?
Einstein. Easy.
And why is that? Because I feel like that makes no sense.
Really? I've always been fascinated with Albert Einstein, and I want to have dinner with him and talk to him, not necessarily about what he does, but I'd love to get to know more of who he is, because the reason why I like him so much is, while he's obviously a genius, he's also incredibly quirky. And he had a lot of failures in his life. He flunked out of math when he was in grade school. So I just want to know from his perspective, what is it like to be Albert Einstein?
Do you ever worry that would be like super disappointing? Like, never meet your heroes. What if he's really boring?
I will agree, never meet your heroes, but I've read enough about him to know that I don't think he would be boring. He could potentially be maybe a more abrasive person than history likes to report, but I'm okay with that too.
You're like, I can deal with that. That's so funny. Okay. All right. That one does make sense. Okay. So the next one, if you could describe your job today in one emoji, what would it be?
The data chart.
Oh
Easy.
so boring. That's so boring.
The poop emoji.
I was thinking, like, if I was going to answer this, it would be the little like surprise face though. But I'm just so exciting all the time. But data chart. Okay.
Data chart.
Not even the little like computer one where the little emoji is like behind the computer. No. Okay. All right. You're allowed to answer however you want. Okay. And the last one, if you could teleport anywhere right now, where would you go?
Whole Foods. I haven't gone shopping yet.
You're like, I'm hungry.
I'm actually pretty hungry. I would love to transport myself to Whole Foods.
Oh, that's funny. I definitely was expecting like a vacation. I think I would go to Fiji or something.
I like the process of going on vacation, though, like packing, going to the airport, getting a croissant. No, but I don't like the process of going to Whole Foods. I just want to be there in the bread aisle.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Let's get into some data analytics now. This topic, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, Shari, and that's what gave me the idea to do this episode. But basically, we were talking about how the sales team KPIs are something that is everyone really understands. It's something that everybody celebrates. Obviously, we're all working towards getting more sales. And it's something that it's really easily reported, and we get those reports a lot. But marketing doesn't really have that as well as sales does, at least in my opinion. And it can be a little bit hard sometimes to show data or show things that other people are going to find valuable on our team, whether that's sales or leadership or whoever. And I want to demystify that a little bit today. What do you feel like? What's your input there? What do you feel like these core analytics are? And why is this so difficult for everyone?
I'll be honest, if it is me in that role, it's a lot easier because the metrics that I look at depend on what it is that we're trying to accomplish. But when we're working with clients, especially with marketing, I feel like marketing has so much data sets that when they're trying to report it, the communication becomes they marketing people don't really think about, well, what does it matter? What matters to leadership right here, right now? And that's what I should focus on and report. And they don't really know how to tie it in a story. There's no what's in it for the person listening. And I see this even with us, honestly. Like we just had this conversation where we're reporting SEO and our clients are just like, don't care, want to care, just don't care. And we're like, how could you not care? This affects everything. You're putting thousands and thousands of dollars into this metric. And the struggle is real. There's just so much data in SEO itself. What are the keywords? How are they performing? How are competitors? What's the market share? And you look at your client, they're just like, uh-huh. But how many leads? And then you go back into the metrics that they're comfortable with, like how many sales did we get? How many appointments did we get? Is yes, I get it. That matters. But there's this comfort in the sales conversion rates that make people push the marketing data away because that's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy. Like, I've got a contract. We just sold a home. That's an easy thing. Everybody gets that. And like I said, obviously we want to celebrate that. But for like me in marketing, like I'm looking at like click-through rates and cost per click and conversions on how many views and interactions. And there's just all so many things. So I definitely think you're right. Like we're looking at so many things that it is like a paralysis of so much information that like we don't know what to say then.
And the problem with the marketing part is it's all top of funnel. You don't, the funnel to the result is just so long and you have to have quite an imagination and a deep understanding of the entire sales funnel to correlate something that's up here to down here and why that matters. And I will say, as a marketing team, we have to figure out a better way to be like, hey, this matters. If it's at the top of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel does not exist. But how do we communicate that?
Yep. Yeah, I was doing videos about that the other day about how all the things that are in the top of the funnel that you have to get those sales. And some of that is just brand awareness. It's making sure that you're known in your area. It's your reputation. It's things like that, that there is no number really to go with it. Like, how do you put a number to brand awareness?
Mm.
So it's really difficult. But if people don't know about you, obviously they're not gonna buy from you. So it's this catch-22 of things. So I want to do like just a quick kind of what analytics do we feel are important for marketing to be tracking, and where does that data live? So obviously, like if you're doing emails, you're going to be looking at your open rates, your click-through rates, overall kind of health of your email list. And then there's your SEO and your pay-per-click campaigns. So that's going to be like cost per click, whatever KPIs or whatever you're tracking. So that's email forms, all those kind of things, calls, leads, conversions. And then social media and your website has all these other things. So you're going to look at views and comments and interactions and website page views and bounce rates. So that's just a few of them. I'm sure I missed a bunch. What other ones do you feel like are important?
And this is where we get back to the topic. There's tons of data sets that you have to look at. I dabble in both marketing and sales, jack of all trades, master of none. But where I think that it's really crucial in marketing, we need to really help the sales team is website unique visits. While that seems okay, great, there's all these people that come to our website. If you don't work with the OSE and you don't work with sales, you don't realize, and I see this a lot, builders will have this incredibly healthy traffic on their website. And then we go in and we do our lead viability report. And I'm like, where are the leads? But if an OSC doesn't understand the marketing conversion rates, meaning unique visits, web traffic, sources, and they're not aware of that, they can't sound the alarm and say, hey, typically you get a 2%, 3% conversion rate from web traffic. We're under 1%. Who says that? Who keeps an eye on that? Marketing should for sure, but when you get into like the marketing aspect turning into lead and sale, that OSC or that salesperson, if they're not aware of these conversion rates, they don't know when something isn't right. And I find that to be very disparaging. It's when we go in, one of the questions I love to ask when I see this is, you have a really healthy website and there's a lot of people that come here. How come you don't have leads? And no one knows how to answer that. That becomes a question
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? There
Yeah.
should be a standard. And this is the other thing, like you shouldn't just keep an eye on your data, but you should also know what your typical conversion rates are. And I'm going to
Mm.
say this, unlike online sales conversion rates, where it could be up to interpretation depending on how you count it, I feel like marketing is so well established that the conversion rates are pretty trustworthy. Like this is the standard. I don't see it differentiate very much.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only time I feel like that changes and there's like kind of a story behind the numbers that you're seeing is on websites, the bounce rate. So we've been
Yeah.
looking at like bounce rate on websites for ages, and Google recently in the last few years like changed how that looks and how they track that. And so when people say, "Oh, our page got like it has a really high bounce rate," it's always viewed as like a negative thing. But really, if you look at it, that's somebody who's coming to your website, they're viewing that one page and then leaving, right? Sometimes that could be a good thing. Maybe they found exactly what they wanted and they didn't need to go to another page. Or maybe the point of that page that they're on is to reach out to an OSC. So they did that. They don't need to be on the website anymore. So it's not only is the data like you've got all this data and like you're trying to view it and process all of these things and build this story, but there could be so many different variables to what that story is. Sometimes what might look like a negative thing is actually a positive thing. This also happened recently with social media because Instagram and Facebook and things are they're cleaning out accounts that have a bunch of followers that are either dead accounts, fake, whatever, and they just remove them. And so you see your follower count go like way down and everyone's, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's actually a good thing. Your audience is like cleaning itself out. You're going to be more active. People that actually want to see your post are going to start seeing it again. So it's you have to have this background knowledge to really make sense of it all.
Yeah. And it's the same with sales conversions. You track walk-in leads, but a salesperson who understands seasons will understand that in November, December, if your walk-in traffic drastically jumps up as opposed to another market or drops down, it's because that's your season to sell, especially 55 plus. We actually see November, December as being heavy in walk-ins because they're visiting, right? They're visiting their in-laws, so that's normal. But if you go to a not retirement community in Utah in November, December, you're going to see a drop because it's cold. Ain't nobody out there looking for models, but they may be on the
Yeah.
website. So there is a backstory to all the different conversion rates. But I think the sales conversion rates have more time in the sun, I want to say, where even you as a marketer, like you've heard it, like, oh, the walk-in rates have dropped, and you can sense it's probably because of A, B, and C. But the reverse role, you put a salesperson in front of you and you're like, you even say the word bounce rate and they're just like trampoline park.
Yeah. Yep. I've gotten those blank stares before for sure.
Mhm.
So I guess really the next question is then how do where should we be looking at these metrics and who should be looking at them first of all, and like how do we make that to where it's more accessible to more people that we want to be interested in these things. Like I know for me, if I'm going to look at like social media analytics, like I'm going to go to the app and I'm going to look at the analytics right there. And of course we do like reporting and stuff like that as well, but like it's easiest for me to just go directly to that app. But I know there's a lot of different ways to do that. That's really your specialty.
Yes. And I'll be perfectly honest, up until now, I always strive to have one source of truth, whether it's a CRM dashboard or a Google sheet that pulls in all of the reports into one so leadership can see it. But even now, I can't think off the top of my head of really any organization that has one place where they can go and take a look at all of that data. So that siloed information is also an issue, not to mention like some CRMs will pull in like AdWords and social media data, but then when you go and you take a look at the actual backend and reporting of the platform itself, the way they interpret like impressions and click-through rates are different. So it is incredibly frustrating. That's the other thing about marketing is reporting doesn't always agree because it always doesn't always define things the same way.
You get different
And
numbers and you're trying to look at the same thing, and it's so frustrating.
and our leadership already thinks marketing is voodoo. And then you add this technically, Facebook interprets impressions this way and the CRM interprets it that way. That's not going to fly, but it's the truth.
I know. I know.
But I will say one of the things that I'm excited with AI about is I believe AI will be the solution to that. Where that platform sits, I don't know, but I can say that the one unifier is going to be artificial intelligence so that you can go into any platform that you want and say, hey, I want to understand the impression of this post. Search Facebook, search your CRM, search these reports and tell me the full story. And it will tell you the full story. And if you get really good at AI, you can train it to tell you the story in the way that you perceive information. Now
Oh my
that is
God.
5 years away, but I'm doing that now. Like implementing CRMs is something that we're knee deep in right now. And I have currently working with, since this morning, 8 different spreadsheets of thousands and thousands of names from the same company who have, and this is sales metrics, by the way, who's just, here are the metrics of this Excel spreadsheet, which is different from the data of this Excel spreadsheet. We're one company, mind you.
Oh my God.
And it would take me weeks. So I import it into ChatGPT and I'm like, okay, so here's this long ass prompt. This is what impressions mean to them in all different categories. Like, I need you to unify this for me. And I check it and it's doing a pretty good job. But long story short, I feel like we will end up getting all of the full story data into one, and AI will definitely help us with that. But right now, in this very moment, you do the best you can.
Yeah. Gosh, that will be incredible when that is that like our reality. Oh,
It's
I can't
happening
wait.
fast. Like
Yeah.
I have yet today to open one thing where there wasn't like AI breeze, ChatGPT,
Mhm.
like Max AI. How can we help you? I'm like, I love it. Now I need you to all speak the same way, and that way we can all get together and grab all this information and present it in a very unified way.
Yeah. Yeah. While we wait for our robots to catch up with us, we do have to somehow come up with these stories that we can tell the rest of our team. I think the first thing that we have to really do is find what is interesting and what is helpful to the rest of our team. I tend to over explain a lot of things when I'm showing too much information. It's all in my head. So I feel like I just got to get it out. But that's not necessarily always helpful, and I think that the concept that we've been talking a lot about of building a story around the data is the solution there. So as we're figuring that out, what do you think are some things that we're gonna be able to do now to build that story and help everybody else on our team?
I think for the marketing data, at least once a quarter, and this is where working with other departments is so important. Marketing should be working with the sales team, should be working with their online sales team and say, hey, what are your goals? And from those goals, figure out of all the conversion rates that you have, which ones automatically or directly impact their goals and link those and report those. A good example, and you know how passionate I am about this, is email conversion rates
Yeah.
that marketing sends out. on behalf of sales. I still think it's wild that it's not uncommon for sales to be like, oh, marketing email came out. Yes, you should definitely include your sales team about marketing emails that are sent out. But if the marketing emails are not used correctly, are not done correctly, these these data sets can completely ruin the entire top of your sales funnel, which means the sales team who are like, hey, send out marketing emails because we have an open house this Friday and it's Wednesday. I think it's important for them to understand that 48 hours is not enough, because if you're forcing marketing to send out a marketing email to 58 people, what are the email servers are going to think? Why can't it be sent one to one? There's no conversation. And the sales team, to their credit, how could they possibly understand why that is a bad thing? They're like, just send these people an email. What's the big freaking deal?
Yeah.
But they don't understand that it is a big deal, because one, you have to design it. You have to understand what these people want to see, because every email that you're sending, you're training the people in your database. This is a good email. I care about it, or I will never open another marketing email from Happy Builders again because they spam the crap out of me every Friday.
Right.
So I think it's just understanding, hey, if you have a sales goal and you want to achieve those goals as a marketing team, these goals of ours impact your goal, and here's how. And I think that's what everyone needs to slow down and figure that out. And it's the same with OSC to marketing. I just had a conversation with one of our OSCs, and they're not getting any leads, and they're so frustrated with marketing. They're like, I hate these marketing meetings because marketing refuses to listen to me. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, what are you saying? And she told me what they said. And I'm like, so what I'm hearing is that you slashed marketing's budget by half and you want them to give you healthier leads. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it has to be, you have to convert it into an appointment or a sale. I'm just like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And they're like, but we're giving them like really cool ideas. I'm like, that's not how that works. And it's just an understanding. So it took me 5 minutes as an online salesperson who understands enough about marketing to explain that marketing side for them to be like, oh, that makes sense. I wish they would have said that. I'm like, I feel like they did, but probably not in a way where you were like, oh, okay. But being an OSE, I knew how to craft that story for her to understand where marketing is coming from. You can't slash half their budget and tell them to don't advertise to renters and be like, problem solved, go do your job.
Yes. Yeah. That's basically where the just make it pretty name came from, is that just here you go, make it all better, but you have nothing to work with. Yeah, it's and I do think it's the creatives are what, a lot of marketers are like, "Oh, I can't send out that email because, I have to do a graphic for it, or the designers have to do whatever." And that's definitely part of it, but I do think that it is important to start explaining some of those things and have the sales team and the OSCs like hear you when you're talking about, if we send out an email to 50 people, here's what's going to happen. This is how it's going to impact all of our data. And it's definitely connecting goals is like huge. And I feel like so many times, like the sales goals, the marketing goals, they're not really connected in any way other than we need to sell homes. We need to get more customers. That's really the only goal that's really the same on any of those two sheets. And so
Mhm.
no wonder like we're not on the same page. Like we're literally on two completely separate tracks. So yeah, that's I totally agree. So when we do that and we open up this communication, how can we make sure, I guess that's all gonna work out, that we have the buy-in from everybody? Like, what are your tips there? As someone who's really good at difficult conversations too, I feel like you would be good there.
I want to say it was David Hagen. I hope I don't give him like praise where he doesn't deserve it, but I'm pretty sure it was David Hagen who said, I wish the sales team had the same tools an OSE did. And my initial reaction is to scoff, because I always scoff at everything David Hagen says. But I thought about it for a second and I'm like, oh, he's so right. Like the OSC has chat, the OSC has automation, the OSC has all of this technology at their disposal. And then you go to the sales team and they're like, what is our website URL? And you're just like, oh my God.
Mm, yeah.
We give salespeople so much crap about that, but it's the truth. Like we don't give them or the options of the same tools as an OSC. And I think for marketing, it's the same thing. You don't really give marketing the kind of praise and uh, accolades, and you don't make an announcement like, congratulations, Sarah. Like she sent out an email and it was opened like 87%. Nobody cares. Nobody knows.
Oh,
Nobody
amazing.
knows why that's affected. And the OSC maybe doesn't get as much praise in that, but like you have National OSC of the Year and you like talk about your data and how many people did they convert. And for marketing, it's look, they made this pretty catalog and it's, but what's the data behind that? The culture of marketing and data and like goals to achieve and how much of an achievement that is, that's not even talked about. I've been I don't think I've ever judged for marketing, but I've sat next to someone who judged for marketing. And I will tell you, data is not a huge part of that.
No, it's all creative. It's all creative.
Hmm.
That's the pretty things to look at. And it's the more fun things to build a story around too. I do think that any kind of picture is just so much easier to talk about than numbers, especially for someone who's not necessarily in the numbers every day. So yeah, it's celebrating it, but it's also in order to celebrate it, you have to educate first.
Yes. And I don't think education is that hard. It's just something that leadership has to do. Even here at Shared Drive, we have a particular CRM that for years you're just like, only Sherry knows.
Yeah.
And over here, no, Sherry doesn't only know. It is like everywhere. Knowledge base is everywhere. And it's just this story we tell ourselves. Like, that's just hard. It doesn't matter to me. There's just too many. And that's not the truth. I think that leadership needs to do a better job of every single department, every single quarter has to have a certain KPI that they focus on. And more importantly, that KPI also has to affect the other department. It can't be marketing has these KPIs and whether they fail or succeed doesn't matter anyone else. I think in the building industry, now that I talk about it, that's probably one of my favorite thing about the industry is that every single builder and every single department, one department directly impacts the other, whether you know it or not, they do. And
Mhm.
until we recognize that and have KPIs that kind of work in that storyline, I don't think that we're ever going to truly master our own industry. We're always going to be like, but it's fall. We can't sell in the fall. No one buys our homes in the fall.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. Like we talk a lot on like our shared drive blog and stuff about bringing the OSC into these conversations and having goals for everybody and providing insights for both sides. But I think the marketing team also needs to do that. This cross departmental training has to happen for OSCs, but also for marketing. Your whole team should be
Mhm.
doing that. And I personally, that's like a retreat thing for me. Like if your company has a retreat or a company planning day or party or something, like do that then and make it a fun thing that you get to work with other people throughout your whole company. Because it's really interesting when you really start looking at what everyone in your on your team is doing. It can be really interesting. Like I remember you doing photos and things for construction and going out and taking progress photos and stuff and talking to the construction teams and stuff. And it actually is super interesting. Oh yeah, we're doing this or we're having this problem. And that's why you see that over there. And just having a little bit of curiosity, I guess, will really help everybody. And a side note too, like marketing teams that do that, it's going to be way easier to create content if you understand the process of what's going into building these homes. Like so much easier to talk about something about. So that's an added bonus.
Yeah, for sure. I think as an OSC, I was very lucky to be able to cross train through even purchasing. I sat down at purchasing and saw all of the things that they had to go through, and I'm like, that looks boring. I'm so glad. But it was a lot of work. You think, oh, we have a whole department for purchasing. In my mind, I'm like, they just buy things. Like, what's the
Mm-hmm.
big deal? It's so complicated. But purchasing is like the hardest role to fill in the home building industry because it is so complicated. And you have to like make sure you don't over order or under order and it has to arrive at the right time. That is data you have to track.
Yeah, that would be such a stressful job for me.
I think I would like it in the end, but the initial just sitting there is no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I was talking to a client a couple days ago about the same thing, but it was in the restaurant industry. And he was like, I don't have a purchasing person. So I don't know if artichokes are cheaper over here or from this person or that person. And he's so we're just doing the best we can out here. And I was like, man, like I never thought about that. Like how you have to have you trying to get the best price and get them there on time. And you have all these different suppliers. Like that would be
Hmm.
so stressful to me.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, it's awesome. I feel like that was a good conversation. I definitely think there's a lot more that we could go into. I would love to hear other people's input on this. Are any builders doing this like really well? And that they feel like their team is really great about sharing numbers between departments, celebrating each other's wins across all departments. I would love to hear about that. I definitely think that we come in and that's something that we're always trying to work on with companies and trying to like to bring teams together and bring different apps together. And that's our role. But I would love to hear if people are doing that well. If you are, comment below and let's chat about it and see how that's working for you. So, anything else to add before we close out, Sherry?
No, I'm beginning to realize this is a really passionate topic, so we may just end up with 2 episodes if I continue. Goodbye, everyone.
We'll see if I invite you back, then you could do that. Yes, no, it is a really interesting topic. And for me, I never said in my whole career, I was never like, oh, I'm the marketing data person. That was never something that I wanted to be known for. But the more I was like, oh, I'm on the creative side. But the more I dig into this and we talk about it, like it really drives everything that I do, even if I'm not, if it doesn't connect to a number in my head, the data still does affect all the decisions that I make. And that's just something that I haven't been very good at talking about. And I know that there's other people out there that have that same kind of thought.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you like this episode, please make sure to subscribe and to leave us a review if you would like to. I would love to have you back for our next episode. And until then, we will see you on the flip side.
You said flip side.
See you on the flip side.